This is Money Motivation to Mike, and I am your host, Michael Wainwright. In charge of the mothership is audio engineer Jason Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that will change your life. You can contact us at info@mx3.vip and find all of our content at mx3.vip or on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@mx3podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the icon bell to get notified of all of our content, which comes out every Monday morning around 9 o'clock. Okay, Jason, listeners, let's get some numbers here. Just over the last 7 days, we've had 6,342 views, and that is up 8% over the last 7 days. As we continue to grow, our percentage of growth will eventually come down. But now over the last 28 days, we have been up 77% from the previous 28 days with 25,736 views on our YouTube channel. Continue to thank you very much for listening to our show as we continue to try to bring you information, topics, good knowledge that will continue to help you with your life and maybe make it a little bit better. A couple things. We now have an official 2023 World Series baseball now on display on our studio table here. And just so you know, the Texas Rangers are still the 2023 World Series champions. It has not changed. And we'll probably be talking about it for quite some time. Hey, a couple things on, one thing on the previous show, we talked about the JFK assassination, etc. And I had told you that I thought there was still a Secret Service agent that was alive. And there is, and that gentleman's name is Paul Landis. And Paul Landis is making some of the wavelengths here now as we're on that 60th anniversary. Landis had been riding on the running board of the Secret Service car when he witnessed President JFK's murder up close as the motorcade drove through Dallas's Daily Plaza. At that time, Landis was only 28 years old. I don't even think about an agent being 28 years old. Landis is now 88, of course, for you mathematicians. 60 plus 28 is 88. He is one of the few survivors who had a firsthand view of the tragedy. He is only now telling his whole story in a book published last month titled The Final Witness. You know, we don't necessarily promote products on this show as of now, but The Final Witness is probably a good read. I did hear an interview with him where he said that the JFK movie by Oliver North was a crock of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was not a supporter of it at all. He said they should have called it a science fiction or nonfiction movie because it had nothing to do with what really happened. Remember, Landis was only there in Dallas because of Jackie Kennedy, in whose security detail he served. He was Jackie Kennedy's bodyguard. Think about this, 28 years old with the President of the United States, and it was his first ever motorcade. Now, here's your conspiracy theory. Did they put Secret Service agent out there on the back of the limousine of the president who was not qualified, had very little experience? Now, you're driving through an area with an open air car. It don't matter who's on the back of that car.
No, it doesn't.
No, but interesting stuff that he was only 28 years old and it was his first ever motorcade. So there you go with Paul Landis. Do a little research on Paul Landis. Seems to be his major. He said that his major hurt of his life is not being able to protect the president and him take the bullet instead of the president. And he takes it personal that man died on his watch, and it hurts him every day. And he said it will to the day he dies. Now, here's something I am really intrigued with, Jason. This last week, the White House released a photo of the cocaine that was in the White House last July. The White House, just a week ago, released photos showing a small bag of cocaine found in a locker at the White House last summer. The photo shows a small bag of cocaine inside a locker near the White House's West Executive entrance where it was obtained by CNN from the United States Secret Service through an FOIA request. CNN reported back in July that cocaine was found in a cubby near the ground floor entrance of the West Wing, where staff-led tours of the White House passed through on their way into the building. Here's the really alarming news. The Secret Service launched an investigation into a small bag of cocaine, but was unable to identify a suspect according to a statement at that time. And we think the federal government can figure out who shot JFK? And we can't figure, how does cocaine in 2023 world America make it into a facility? You couldn't get cocaine into the airport today. Now, maybe you can. Maybe that's a naive comment on my behalf. Mm-hmm. But the metal detectors that I have been through, you can't get anything through those things. There's always a will, there's always a way, but not at the White House.
Well, there's a few that they let just walk right through without going through all the security scrutiny.
I would assume you're talking about the president and his family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did read somewhere, weren't they up in Kennebunkport, Maine, or something like that? Whenever this whole deal went down, but they go over here and say
Friday.
They try to deflect. You know, this is a deflecting world. Deflect everything. Deflect who's wrong. It's not me. Deflect who's right. It is me. Okay. They try to go over here and talk about it being on the West Wing where staff-led tours pass through. But then they show the locker where it was in. So are they touring the lockers when they're going to the White House? Are they opening up the locker doors and showing what's inside of them? The bologna sandwich that the security officer is going to eat in the afternoon? What's going on up there? It doesn't make any sense to me how let's see, this cocaine bag, and I don't know, you might put this up on our website. This cocaine bag is every bit of about 1.5 inches tall, another inch in width.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely powder, white powder. But somehow that gets into the most security prestigious building in the world, the White House of the United States of America, where the president lives with his family. But cocaine can get in there. What else can get in there?
Mm-hmm.
What else can get across these borders? What else can fly into this country when you can't keep cocaine out of a White House?
Right.
And how can you come across and tell us that you know who is behind the JFK assassination, November 22nd, 1963? I'm telling you, 60 years of cover-up, Jason. One of the first things that I want to find out when I die and go to heaven is who killed JFK. Can't wait. But until that time, we'll continue to celebrate the Texas Rangers 2023 World Series Championship.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, also in this last week, clips from the January 6, 2021 invasion on the nation's capital were released. Now, let's go back and think about this. Kevin McCarthy, the former Speaker of the House, would never release those videos, that footage. And a lot of people believe the reason they did it is because it's going to make the Republicans look bad. Well, maybe it would also give you some note that maybe not everything that went on in there, because I've seen some pretty calm stuff going on inside the nation's capital. Now, definitely, a lot of things went on up there that should not have went on. Mm-hmm. Definitely breaking into your nation's capital, breaking into your next door neighbor's house is uncalled for, and it is a crime, and you should be punished. And there was a lot of that stuff went on up there. Attacking a security officer. You should get whatever they have coming your way. But how do we know that every person up there was a Republican? How do we know every person up there wasn't a Democrat? How do we know that there weren't people planted? Now, once again, don't get me wrong. I believe 100% that a whole lot of these people are and were Trump supporters. So we're going to run some of these clips here momentarily. And the reason we're able to do that is because new House Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has released this footage. And right now, I think Jason, is there about 90 hours that are released right now?
Correct.
And they say I guess the federal government, or maybe it's the Committee on House Administration, that where all this footage can be found on their website, they will release over 40,000 hours of footage before it's all said and done. Now, if you have 40,000 hours of footage that you have been going through now as we approach 3 years, and at that time, President Donald Trump being accused of everything under the sun, and you have 40,000 hours of footage, how come you don't have him in jail? I would think if I had 40,000 hours, I'd be able to find something to put this person in jail, because that's where all the finger pointing has went. Because I believe now there's a lot of people that have went to jail over this January the 6th stuff, and probably many, many more that will, and many, many more that should, that won't. 40,000 hours about to be put on to the website. Now, we'll have a link, will we not, at the below our particular episode on this particular subject. We'll have a website or a link where they can go to and see all this footage. Goodness gracious. If we put 40,000 hours of footage on our website, it'd probably blow up.
Couldn't handle it.
Okay. Hey, the first thing here, let's go and watch, I think it's NBC, the interviews that are going on there, and we'll react to this stuff and talk about it for a minute. Oh, here we go. Trump.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down.
Okay, Jason. Trump says that he's going to walk down there with them. Now, I believe the Secret Service ended up not letting him go.
That's correct.
Okay.
We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
Okay, he said we're going to go down there and cheer them on. He didn't say we're going to go down there and attack them.
Right.
And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
And I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you have to show strength in all facets of your life. One of the reasons the society that we live in today is the way it is because, in my opinion, the weakness that we have allowed people to get to, the level of lowness of weakness. We don't encounter things with strength anymore. We run. You know, that goes all the way back to when you were in Little League, the participation ribbon. You don't get rewarded for finishing last. You get rewarded for finishing first. And when you are first, you have strength. And when you are in last, you are weak. Now, why my team wasn't as strong as yours. My team was weaker than yours. So it encourages you to get better on the ball field, in the classroom, whatever it is. Okay. The people who make Fs are the weakest students in the room. The people who make A pluses, they're the strongest. So if you want to be them, then you go and try to achieve more. You study more. You get the help. They don't just pass you along so that they can collect money at the school district. And a whole lot of that goes on. Okay.
Come to demand that Congress do the right thing.
This is the Daily
and
Mail.
Only count the electors who have been lawfully slated.
Okay. Only count the electoral votes that have been lawfully slated. All right. I understand, and I do believe not every vote was counted. I don't know if it was enough to make Trump the president. I don't know if there were votes that should have went Biden's way that weren't counted. We don't know that. But at every polling site, there is an electoral judge who's in charge of that polling site that has to sign off on everything that went on there and every vote that was counted. And I know in some of these larger places, like the Georgias and the Pennsylvanias, etc., that was part of or Arizona, that was a part of the things that Trump is talking about and it being incorrect. But there are people there in charge. And some of those people are Democrats, some of those people are Republicans. They're the first people that vote in every election that they host a polling site at. So my thought on that is it was credited when John Q, electoral judge, signed off on it. Doesn't mean that the numbers were correct, but it was certified.
Lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically.
Peacefully and patriotically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in the previous clip, cheer them on. Okay, and we're going to walk. Okay, here we're going to march, and we're going to be peacefully and patriotically. Okay. Still, I haven't heard anything where Trump is encouraging violence.
Make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections, but whether or not they stand strong for our country.
Okay. Now, he talking about there, are the Republicans going to stand strong? Now, obviously, he's saying that if you don't go my direction, vote my way, and I'm sure a lot of that right there is directed at Vice President Mike Pence at the time, then you are not doing the right thing. But in this particular case, there were Republicans who were for and against what was going on as well. Not many, a slim margin. Mm. But once again, it goes both ways. But I do want to reiterate on both of these videos. Walking, marching, peacefully, patriotically. To me, the words there at the end of his speech, and I know it went on for an hour or so. I haven't not watched it in its entirety. And sometimes you go, well, you're taking it out of context. Well, we're just showing here at the end the footage that's been released. Now, that footage has been around for a while, but we're showing here at the end the things that he did say to encourage peace, in my mind, before you walked or marched or ran or drove or whatever it is you did on your way down to the nation's capital on January the 6th, 2021. Okay, here's video of News Nation and their footage from the Hill.
Now, News Nation contributor Steve Krakauer. He is also a columnist for the Hill. And Steve, been listening to some of this. What say you?
I know it was sort of teased, the transparency argument. I think that's important. I actually think that, yes. First of all, I started to go through some of these. I mean, it is just the security footage. It's not curated in any way. It will take a lot of people a lot of time to figure out what, if anything, we have here right now. Okay, so that's the first step. But I do think it's a step in the right direction. I completely agree that there has been a lot of misleading information when it comes to this. There's been so much coverage of January 6th by so many quarters, and yet it all focuses on such a very small part of that day.
I think that's correct as well. Mm-hmm. All right, now, Mike Johnson releases these footage because, as it says here on the breaking news from just a few days ago, that the Republicans argue that the release shows transparency with all the footage.
Why not more coverage about the security failures? And I think that that's something that we might be learning about through these tapes. Why not more coverage about what people exactly were let in right away?
But the small part is a really big part, is it not, Steve?
Of course. And
I would say that depends on what side you want to argue from.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing would be, no matter what happens, it's just like when we were attacked 20 years ago. What did we first do? Go back and reevaluate our security systems, the Homeland Security, et cetera, of why could people get on an airplane and drive them into buildings. I don't think that's been the head topic of this particular situation on January the 6th, 2021.
And it's gotten a lot of coverage. And as it's been said, hundreds of, if not thousands of people have been held accountable for their actions on their day, their criminal actions that day. But if you want to clamp down on the conspiracy theories, transparency is the way to do it, right? Sunlight's the best disinfectant. That is the way that we are going to be able to move past this. So this is a step in the right direction. I think it should be applauded. People should go through it, and then we should move on, and we should move on to bigger stories.
Yeah, so as Steve noted, this is like a website with just a bunch of video and a bunch of pages within the website, and you got to click on it. The video pops up, and there it is.
Once again, we'll have the website below our particular episode, and then you could go out and Google Committee on House Administration, and I'm sure you're going to find this website, which right now, once again, has about 90 hours, and more than 40,000 hours of footage will be released.
It is. So it's out there if you want to go through it, Lauren.
It's not good. And so
I think it's good.
what insurrection or no insurrection, we can argue that ad nauseum, but
All right, once again, here's news at its best. Given an opinion, it's not good. News reporters report. That's what has happened. That's one of the biggest problems that we have in this country. And I just realized this as we're watching this reaction video. The news goes out and they report news, and then they give opinions. And those opinions go out to millions and millions and millions of people. And those people base their opinions over someone who's on TV because they have credibility. That's where Congress should start, by what they do and the rules and regulations of being able to give an opinion on a newscast at a news desk every evening at 5, 6, and 10. You think about this. You listen to radio and you're going down the highway, and either the person who's doing the interviewing or the person that's being interviewed says a cuss word. 7-second delay so they can bleep it out. How come we're not doing that with TV? Because our world, our decisions, our elections are all being persuaded by news coverage.
what you're arguing is basically it was just a violent mob that was beating up police officers. I mean, like, I don't understand the argument coming from your side.
No, my point.
Okay. She's already started the argument by saying it was bad.
My point is very simple. The Democrats and the media for 2 years have called this something it is not.
Yes, but
it
you
is
would
a.
agree.
Okay, now his first statement she didn't like, so now she's going to intervene, not interrupt him, not going to let him speak.
It is a bad day and a riot that got out of control.
So how is that good?
Finally, the person being interviewed here just stops because she's not going to let him talk. Whether you like it or you don't, that's what's going on.
I mean,
I think the American public should know whether or not justice is being served.
There is no objection that the purpose for these rioters, insurrectionists that went into the Capitol, who sat at Nancy Pelosi's desk, who were calling Nancy Pelosi out, who were looking for the vice president, actively looking for the vice president, and while it was in session, to stop the peaceful transfer of power. That makes it an
Do you know that someone...
Okay. He just said there's no doubt why they were there. This is another opinion. Okay. I don't think they were there to have lunch, for sure. But that's what I think. I don't know. And neither does he. There's a lot of people in these pictures that look like they weren't there for combat. There are some that were. But there's a lot of elder folk that have no idea, as you said off the air, what they were stepping into. So 3 people on this particular News Nation broadcast here just a couple of days ago, 3 people have spoke. 2 of them are reporters. They're the 2 that have already given their opinions. The person that's the guest on this particular show just made a statement that the people should know. Okay. Maybe that's his opinion. I believe they should know too. And the 300 million Americans that live would want to know as well. So if it's an opinion, great. I don't think that's opinion. That's probably a fact. But what he's saying is, here's the footage. Now make your own judge. Okay, these 2 people one of them wouldn't even let him talk.
Someone last night said the DNC situation, a Democratic member of Congress said the DNC situation the other day was actually worse than January 6th. I think we need to be cooler and calmer about
Steve, hang on by real quick, but I want Chris to put a bow on this.
Just to say, I know why Kevin McCarthy didn't release this, because of 2 separate problems. One, goofuses who will obsess over and pour.
Hang on there. How does he know why Kevin McCarthy didn't release it? Did he talk to Kevin McCarthy?
He may have. I don't know.
I'm going to say you don't know either, and I'm going to say I don't know either, but I'm going to say he didn't. More opinion. Jeez.
Pour over this video, QAnon kooks who will go over this video and it will prop up their conspiracy theories. The other reason is the one that our colleague just mentioned, which is just, it's bad, right? It's just bad for Republicans to talk about. This is a bad thing for.
He's talking about the lady reporter that did the first question. She said it's bad. He just agreed with her. By the way, he's a reporter as well. That is what's wrong with media, news reporters, etc. in the United States of America, maybe all the way around the country, but I'm only worried about what goes on in this nation. And until the federal government, those 435 House of Representative congressmen and congresswomen, and those 100 senators stop stuff like this, we're going to continue on and on and on and on with what we're doing. You know that I was saying, you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you got. And this is what we have. And this is what we're going to continue to get. I don't know that we need to talk more about this. The January 6th, and I'm sure we're going to have more topics. And when I say about this, I'm talking about this particular clip. But it just goes on to how people form an opinion. They have a platform called a news station that goes out to gazillions of people. How many ever gazillion is? Maybe that's something you can try to figure out at a later date, Jason. But this is the stuff that has to stop. Now, January the 6th, we're talking about that. Bad stuff with the fact of people going in. I understand that she said that as well, but she can't say that. She's a reporter. Let the guy said, put the footage out there. Let everybody make their own decisions, just as everybody else has. Yes, but he said a small part has made the full gamut of what went on that day to be huge. Now, that small part was big, but it's just like what we say. The Republicans want to recognize that small part. The Democrats want to say that small part is what made it so big. Take it, leave it, whatever you want to say. The footage is out there. Go make your own opinions. Comment to us. Tell us where you are. Tell us what you believe. Tell us what you think. And we'll come back on here and discuss it some more. We continue to try to bring the topics that are hot and happening on a regular basis as we have since the inception of this show. And I know that we have talked about some topics like the Cowboys and the Rangers, etc., and motivation and all those things that I know I believe in. Now, as we come up here, and I know I owe you some episodes so we can get to the end of this year. One of the episodes that we will be having here in the next 5 to 6 weeks is end of the year preparation tax matters, Jason. We got to get on to that since we talk about money, and money's the first word on our show. We got to get into what people need to do and how they need to get prepared for filing their 2023 taxes here at the start of 2024. So that's something that we're going to do in December. And I'm sure we're going to have a Christmas episode of some sort, etc. And we got to get back to those 1990 Cowboys. But there again, things about what went on January the 6th, 40,000 hours of coverage released last week by Mike Johnson, who, by the way, is a Republican. So I don't know if that necessarily discredits what they just said, but the reason Republicans don't want it out is because it makes it look bad. But yet a Speaker of the House who was just appointed or elected by his peers to be the Speaker of the House in his first week or two of business releases this footage. Take it for what you want, make your own decisions. Once again, Money, Motivation, and Mike can be found info at mx3.vip, and find all of our content at mx3.v or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@mx3podcast. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and icon bell to get notified of all of our content, which comes out every Monday morning. For everyone who, again, has been a part of this show, we appreciate your listening audience. We appreciate the viewing audience, and both topics and both sectors of our business continue to grow. So until next time, continue to live your life the right way.